Yo, what is up, everybody? John from Top Tactics bringing you another video. Today's a special day. I just hit my first undefeated result at the Denver 40K Fight Club August Open with none other than Auxiliary Cadre. So today we're going to walk through the list. We're going to go game by game through my strategies, my attack plan, how I approached each matchup, some mistakes that I made, some things that I did well to put myself in a position to win, and how I beat Death Guard 3 times. So without further ado, we're just going to hop right into the list. Also, shout out to Ben Neal for winning the tournament. He had an amazing run, played a bunch of 4-2-5-1, 6-0 players, and had a pretty significantly higher win-op percentage than me. So shout out to Ben. In GKs we trust. So first and foremost, we go with Commander Shadow Sun. I'm just going to briefly skim over this because we're going to go into detail later on. We've got Shadow Sun. Her melt guns really help out. She's a nice guide early on that can move up the table later on in the game to apply some damage. Every once in a while I got a CP from her, which was also nice. We've got the 3 solo broadsides, really consistent damage. I found myself constantly activating these guys. I'd basically move them one time, sit them in a firing lane, and they would shoot with heavy turn after turn into my opponent's stuff, just because they were too busy dealing with ghost kills, and it took too much of a real commitment to actually kill these guys. I think across the tournament, I want to say I lost 4 out of 18 possible throughout my 6 games. So really happy with how these performed. Shout out to Jack from 6++ for the idea. And then triple Ghost Keel. Ghost Keels I found are just amazing for the points, especially in Auxiliary Cadre with the Lone Op bubbles that they provide to the Rampagers. I actually found myself not really running Rampagers right behind the Ghost Keels, but staged pretty far behind in a different Lone Op bubble. What they really do is force out a real commitment, and then the Rampagers get to connect. We've got the 1 unit of Crew Carnivores just for the sticky and late game OC push, and then we have the 3 units of Rampagers. So I was always holding, when I knew they were about to connect, 2 CP for the extra AP and reroll wounds against at least one of the 2 targets, because typically they were both connecting on the same turn. I love the Rampagers. This list, honestly, when I built it, was kind of a meme, but was really inspired by folks in my Discord community to bring out some more Rampagers. Definitely hop into the Discord if you're looking for a really open and awesome community. It's really self-sufficient, and we have lots of great discussions there. So check out the link in the description below if you're new to Tau, you're trying to get better, just like all of us in that Discord. Next, we got a unit of Pathfinders. You have to have them for the Infiltrate and Scout. It's just super powerful, and then they also do a good amount of damage with the 3 ion rifles, access to grenades, access to extra AP if I'm nearby with crude stuff. So really efficient pieces there. I've got the double Sky Rays. Again, a really consistent damage piece that my opponent usually didn't have time to deal with. Stuck out, on tight angles early game, and then pushed out in late game onto objectives. We've got the 2 units of stealth suits, which I played pretty cagey with, unless my opponent had too much stuff to deal with, and I just put them on the open and say, hey, are you going to deal with Rampagers, Ghost Keels, or are you going to deal with these stealthy Space Marine bodies instead? And people really didn't focus them down, which I was a little concerned about. And then I have the 2 units of Espid, great for just uppy downy, holding my backfield until late game, and then scoring secondaries when my opponent has to push to the midboard. So that's going to be today's list. Before we hop into each of the games, I want to give a transition to our channel sponsor. Want to give a shout out to our channel sponsor, as always, Secondhand Geek. Now, I was looking at my backlog recently, realized I had 3 units of Tau Tetras, which I actually painted pretty well, that I haven't touched in quite a long time, so I figured there's someone out there who could maybe use them for a conversion to something like a Piranha. So, as you can see here, super easy to set up a listing within Secondhand Geek. I think this took me like a minute and 30 seconds total. A couple really awesome things about Secondhand Geek is they give you the same security of other online marketplaces out there like eBay, but the fees are actually half the price. So you're getting a lot more bang for your buck as far as buying and selling is concerned. And then another amazing part of it is they actually kick back local gaming stores like the ones that me and you go to all the time and help support them as well. So if you want to help support the channel, support Secondhand Geek, check out my link down in the description below to sign up with my referral link. A portion of everything you buy and sell there will then go to me, and also it will automatically add you into all of our online giveaways that we do with Secondhand Geek. We have a few big ones coming up in September to celebrate September, so have a look at those, but definitely sign up with Secondhand Geek. Check out what they've got in the Tau section of the website. If you're interested in having a piece of Tau Tactics memorabilia, you can certainly check out these Tau Touchers that I've just uploaded. Thanks, guys. Alrighty, so we hop right into it with none other than Death Guard. So we're going to Champion's Contagion here. He's got 2 of the Death Shroud bricks in reserves. As you can see, he infiltrated his Poxwalkers over here. I put my Pathfinders here so they can scout back behind this ruin. Thought process going into this game is I want to be pretty aggressive with my ghost skills here, knowing that the only things that can truly interact with them early on are these drones and the spawn, which I am feeling pretty confident they can't take them out. When you actually look at what the breakpoints are for the drones into ghost kills, they're actually really inefficient. Like, for example, the Mephitic Blight Hauler has 3 shots that are going to be d6 damage, and they're going to be -1 to hit. They're also +1 to hit, so they'll be hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s. But typically, on average, they're only getting 2 through, and then the ghost kill has 2 blanks. And in order to activate into them, they have to get within 12, right? Which means they are right in front of my army, and I get to kill them for free, and I have a ghost skill that's usually on full health. So, as you can see, as far as deployment is concerned, we're making sure we're covering angles here. This one with the Sky Ray, I love this spot for a broadside, so you can just hop right onto this angle here. I like having my 2 ghost kills on being able to shoot down this firing angle, because this spot right here is really spooky for me, because typically it requires me to stand out in the midfield right here with things like broadsides or with with Sky Rays, for example, to actually get shots into this pocket. So it's a really awkward spot for me, so I want to make sure that I have this firing angle down here. There's another unit of Poxwalkers over here, but measured the threat range, made sure that I'm outside of 23, just so he can't get free damage on me. With the Blade Haulers, turn 1, so feel pretty good after this deployment. And also shout out to Herman, who was a great opponent. This was a ton of fun. Awesome, so he ends up going first. I scout all my stuff back. I scout these Rampagers back. And he has his Poxwalkers. I think he scores. Yeah, he scores. Or he gets Area Denial, Extend Battle Lines. Pretty sweet, if you ask me. Just stages up on me, puts a couple Poxwalkers in the objective. Nothing too crazy. So my turn. I think it's pretty simple. All I have to do is put at least 1 Rampager on this objective to deny it. I think I have like a 7 or an 8-inch charge with the Rampagers here. I'm gonna take it because clearing his minimal trash pieces means I get to the Blight Haulers and Bloat Drones even quicker. So really my priority this upcoming turn is just killing these 2 units, staging up these Ghost Keels, and getting them on objectives, to be honest with you, and forcing some sort of commitment, because right now, if I put a Ghost Keel here and I put a Ghost Keel here, there's very minimal interaction going on. Maybe he gets 2 shots with 2 Blight Haulers on this Ghost Keel, not likely to kill it, and then I have these Rampagers staged to move 7, possibly advance and charge, and hit the middle pretty easily here. So, as you can see, my opponent, this is after his movement phase, he does commit. I put the Ghost Kills on the objectives. I fail this charge over here. He puts his Death Shroud down, which is really his only answer to these Ghost Kills at the moment, which I love to see. So I end up rapid ingressing for free a 6-man Rampager unit over here, outside of charge and shooting range. So I feel really good going into this, knowing that I have 2 pretty dang good answers into these Death Shroud units. I did talk to my opponent, Herman, about this, but I think it was pretty greedy going for, I believe this was a 9-inch charge, because he was getting, because he wasn't within contained range, and I believe it was like a 6 into these Rampagers over here. So as you can see, the Death Shroud do Death Shroud things. They just pick up the Ghost Keels, the Ghost Keel here super easily. They get those Rampagers, but again, I feel really good about my chances. The Rampagers are basically immune to this Overwatch because I believe they're Strength 3 with the Death Shroud, and I have enough CP to do exactly what I want to do, which is 1 unit is going to get extra AP, reroll wounds. I'm going to focus down the other unit. This has a Lord of Contagion, so I really Ideally, I'm able to kill the Lord of Contagion in shooting, but that's not really realistic in a single shooting phase. So I'm really relying on these Rampagers to both kill these units, but also stand in the objectives and deny the primary, which is a really important aspect of Rampagers because let's say, for example, this Lord of Contagion stands up, then all of a sudden he's scoring primary, even though I've picked up the resource. Now, with the fact that these Rampagers are going to be sitting on the objective, he's not going to be scoring primary. And he has to deal with them first, which again means all of these guns get to continue to activate for free. So, as you can see after my movement phase, we step out all the guns. So we've got Skyrays lined up here with the Ghost Keel and Shadow Sun. We've got these guys lined up on these drones for some extra damage. We've got our Rampagers exactly where we want them, and it's time to connect. So, as you can see, we do a shitload of damage. We clear both of the Death Shroud breaks, put some wounds on this guy. I believe we take out another Mephitic at some point. And this Lord of Contagion doesn't stand up, which is super unlucky. We have Rampagers on objectives. So again, something has to deal with them. And all my guns are just standing out in the open. But he can't kill all of it. Now, what I did was I staged this Vespid unit over here, knowing that this 10-man Plague Marine unit, it really wants to get to this objective and attack me over here, which is kind of a blind spot for my army at this moment. I don't have a Rampager counter threat here. Realistically, I could probably do a bunch of damage, but if he hits me first and like kills a Ghost Keel and hits a long charge here, I'm in a pretty deep trouble. So what I do is I advance these guys up to create a wall to make sure that they're not going anywhere past this spot. Maybe they'll be able to pile onto the objective, but I'm honestly not super worried about it because if they're doing that, that means they're not attacking the middle, and likely I'm going to score primary somewhere. Awesome, as you can see, so he does move his Rhino here. He jumps the Plague Marines out to deal with this unit. He pumps this Mephitic out to go shoot at this Ghost Keel. Again, still have the blanks. It's not going to do anything, which is pretty sweet. This Bloat Drone comes over here to shoot down this way, and I actually believe that we talked about it and we both decided like the right play was actually going this way to help either clean up here or shoot down this angle because he's really not getting a lot of valuable shots on this side of the table. So this is after his shooting phase and mine. What ends up happening is he clears both of these pretty trivially, which is what happens with Rampagers. They go in and do the dirty work. You just got to make sure that they connect first, which can be difficult, but specifically into Death Card is super achievable. So we take a ton of wounds off of this Plague Marine unit. I believe we bait out an Overwatch somewhere. So these Vespid are able to just jump right into this spot and just deny pressure over here. We pick up a bunch of units down here, and we're in a pretty significant resource advantage. So at this point, we're just finishing out the game. So he kills the screen, charges these guys, charges the Pathfinders. But again, this is pretty much all she wrote from this point. I have a significant resource advantage. We're just moving up the table with the rest of our units. Kills the Ghost Keel. I step out all of my units to do as much damage as possible. And from that point forward, we just get the win. Next game, we get Chaos Knights. I was really concerned about this matchup. Going in, I don't like seeing a bunch of War Dogs. He has two of the Despoilers with the Gatling Cannons, which basically kill anything in my army at will, which is really gross. So I think going into this, I talked to my opponent, Chris, after the game. He really respected my damage output, I think way too much. As you can see, he's hiding from all these angles, which is totally achievable. I can't get any, Alpha Strike potential on him turn 1, but it really hinders his ability to take initiative when he goes first here, which I really think that if he deployed on the line, I don't have the damage to deal with him, and I think he likely just runs me over. I have two Ghost Keels over here, again, because I want pressure on this angle right here. If he does push something over here, I really hate stuff hanging out on this spot. And also, I saw that he deployed, I deployed them last, and I saw he only has two Carnivores. So I know with these guys being here, I can do two things. One, get to this angle right here, if he puts a Carnivore on this part of the objective, or he puts one over here. I know I'm activating at least two of the Ghost Keels. I have a Stealth Suit unit here to pop out and give a guide if needed. So I feel pretty good about my deployment here. He's also not getting any angles on me, but I'm prepared to jump into multiple firing lanes with these two units, either here or here. And as you can tell, I actually played on the exact same table. Same thing with this broadside. I can go down this way, or I can go down this way. So feeling pretty good as far as deployment is concerned, and my chances going into this one based on how Chris deployed into me. So he does end up going first. I do my scout moves, just making sure I'm outside of his threat ranges, and he gets pretty aggressive here. Oh, whoops! This is actually his turn too. So some of these games I didn't get a ton of pictures in. But what he ends up doing here is sending his turn one. He sends one of his carnivores this way to go for a 7-inch charge. Doesn't make it. He puts a carnivore on this objective. We shoot into it twice with ghost skills. Don't do enough damage to kill it. We charge the Nurglings here though and pile onto the objective to deny him primary. Then we take out one of the carnivores, so in his turn 2, he pushes up all of his big knights, gets a bunch of shots into me down this way, and at this point, now we're just going to be tussling for the rest of the game and seeing what happens from here. So we end up rapiding a unit of Rampagers back here to charge and deal with this guy and potentially support this way. We move up Ghost Skill to block this angle right here. We keep our broadsides and we activate all 4 of these units into the big boy. I think we bring him down below 10 total. This unit of Rampagers here doesn't really have a job right now because he hasn't pushed into the middle, so they're just hanging out. They don't really have the threat range to go this way or this way, but my big concern is him putting a big knight onto the middle and saying, you can't deal with this, and then killing my whole army. So I want to have this threat towards the middle. At this point, I've committed so much of my damage between broadside here, Skyray, broadside, Rampagers. He has so many targets that I figure, and I see that he doesn't really have anything that's, has the volume to deal with this. Like, I don't think he really wants to put a Gatling Big Knight into these Kroot, so I decide I'm going to step them on the objective and force him to deal with them. As you can see here, this carnivore actually lives on 1 wound, even though I give extra AP and reroll wounds to these Rampagers. Totally happens sometimes. So he ends up just falling it back. He shoots this Gatling Despoiler here into the Skyray. I think I made like 8 or 9 5-ups out of like 13 or 14 that he handed me, do a significant amount of damage. I push up, this is after my movement phase, I push up these guys to go up for a charge onto this dude. I end up failing it, so pretty rough to be honest, because now he can just kill this unit for free, but what are you going to do? But I'm feeling pretty good with 2 broadsides with heavy sitting here, Shadow Sun and the Ghost Skill, plus these Rampagers ready to connect on this guy who I believe is on like 4 wounds or something like that. So we're in pretty good shape, I think. Alright, so as you can see, we do take out the big boy. On this bottom objective, I think he scores primary once, and then I continuously deny him with ghost skills over and over again. We do a significant amount of damage to kill the Rampager, and from here, we're in a really good spot. We're on the objectives, he's not, and he's running out of resources really quickly. Awesome, and then as you can see, something crazy happens, which is I killed both of these things, but this Rampager here, or this Carnivore here, explodes, kills, or it was this one right here, kills Shadow Sun, a Skyray, and something else. I want to say some Vespid. So this area of the board just completely detonates. He puts his Gatling big boy into here as well. I think he puts one into the what's it called? The carnivores as well, takes them out. But I do have, I believe I had area denial. I had something to do with scoring this middle point, so I had to put the Skyray into the Beast and Nurgle. I rolled like a 7 on the damage on the one shot that went through, so got really lucky there to get that kill. Previous turn, actually, before all this stuff exploded, I passed 4 battle shocks to retain this objective, which was pretty gross. This is just the end of the game. Mathematically, I was already going to win, but we were figuring out how he could score the most points possible, which is, or deny me the most points possible, which is getting him into the middle, and split firing and taking a couple units out. But again, I think the moral of the story here was my opponent respected my damage too much. If he deployed on the line, I think this game goes a little bit differently. As you can see, like I was even struggling to kill the carnivores, so Knights was a matchup that I was okay giving up. In favor of having good matchups into Death Guard. Awesome. So this is my first game into Death Guard. As you can see, so this is after my first turn movement. I go first here, and what I end up doing is I deployed a Ghost Skill within 10 of the objective over here. I deployed a Ghost Skill within 10 of the objective over here. I deployed a Ghost Skill within 10 of this objective over here. I go first. I touch every single objective on Terraform. I terraform all three, knowing that my opponent has his 2 Lord of Contagion bricks up in the sky. I pre-measured and made sure that he can't shoot me. This Battle Cannon Knight can't shoot me turn 1, so I know that he has basically one answer for the Ghost Skills. Like the Mephitics aren't going to do anything, and they don't, but he has these Plague Marines. So what I do here is I scout up. There are Rampagers here. They scout this way. There was a unit of Poxwalkers here. I charge in, kill these guys. And now I have also a broadside down in this angle that can pop over here if I need it. So I have a nice Alpha Strike potential. What ends up happening is this entire Plague Marine unit activates, puts 11 wounds on the Ghost Skill. I reroll a save at the very end, and he had D3 damage. I had 2 wounds left, and he rolled a 1 or a 2, and he was out of CP. So that's another benefit of pushing hard into them early, is they're then spending CP on not the full full hit and wound rerolls, crit 5s. They're not going into their go turn with 4 or 5 CP. They're very CP light at that point, which really works to my advantage. Like, they aren't throwing grenades in addition to crit 5-zing, and it results in opportunities for me to swing up heavily, which is, like, for example, this Ghost Skill Living. And as you can see, it works out really, really well in my favor. What ends up happening is I'm able to put a stealth suit right here to see down this line to get a guide. I do hop the broadside over the crate here. I get to activate this Ghost Skill. I get to activate here, and I get to activate this Ghost Skill as well. And I kill, and then as well the Rampagers are able to charge in, and I kill. I think it was something gross. It was like 8 or 9. I think I killed the whole unit except for one character. So again, just super strong. He has nothing to deal with this Ghost Skill. I think for the rest of the game here, I score a 2 on Terraform every turn except for like the last turn or 2. He isn't able to score primary here because I have the 2 Rampagers. So ended up being a really good angle for me to take, was just being super aggressive into my opponent. So now that we have a Ghost Skill here, a Ghost Skill here, I'm pretty confident that my opponent has to bring the Lords of Contagion units into this spot to deal with this Ghost Skill, because he has nothing in the area code that can take him out. And same thing with this Ghost Skill here. He has really nothing to interact with. He's on full wounds. So I have a unit of Rampagers staged up, ready to protect the middle, and I'm ready to rapid ingress another unit of Rampagers within 3 of stealth suits for free over in this corner to protect this Ghost Skill as well. Alright, so that is indeed what happens. My opponent 6-inch deep strikes a Death Shroud unit right here. He 6-inch deep strikes a Death Shroud unit right here. Sets up for 2 6s. I'm totally okay with losing the Ghost Skills at this point. Now that all he has is these drones left, really. This big knight, who again still can't interact with the middle. I feel like I am in a really good spot. These two, the Skyray and the Broadside, stepped up here when his first Mephitic hopped into this spot. We're able to get an angle like this, so his and it was able, because of these 2 pieces overlapping, was able to deny any firing back from the Big Knight. So he steps out this unit, steps out these Blight Haulers to kill some of these Rampagers, and again, just I feel like I'm in a really good spot here to deny these Lords of Contagion a lot of value, because I have all my guns ready to shoot, and because I have my Rampagers ready to activate. So he does make the charge. He ends up killing this Ghost Keel over here, but somehow leaves this guy on 3 wounds. I think I just high rolled the hell out of him. I think this is when I rolled 7 out of 10 5-ups. Then the Lord of Contagion only got 3 wounds through. I blanked 2 of them and made another 5-up. It was nasty. It was gross. So as you can see, we move I think we interlocking maneuvers here, so we make sure we get this activation. We move up our rampagers, step out all of our guns to get as much damage into these guys as possible. Step up all of our guns. We move up this broadside to charge this rhino to deny this primary once again. Another common thing that happens in these games is any of these ghost heals, after they activate, they're charging things similar to this broadside. They're charging rhinos, they're charging drones, giving them -1 to hit, just generally making it really difficult to activate efficiently into my army. And so from here, as you can see, this is just after the charge mortals. This isn't even after shooting. So, or excuse me, after fighting, what we do is we do a shitload of charge mortals over here. I think we do 6 or 8. We do 6 or 8 over here. He has a Lord of Contagion on 6, one of them on 2. Typically, the Rampagers aren't killing the full Death Shroud unit from full to dead. Usually they lose 1 or 2 guys from shooting as well. So it just is a very, what's the word? Very consistent that I'm going to, weed through these units between shooting and fighting. And again, I end up on the objective. He ends up wrapped. These units are... so he does have 1 Death Shroud and 1 Lord of Contagion left after the charge mortals. But again, he doesn't have these units that can then run around, kill other my pieces. He has to deal with these guys, or he just has 1 character who's really not doing too much anymore. And as you can see, after the fight phase, we do get the kill over here. This guy doesn't stand up. This guy, we actually don't kill, which is hilarious. And he activates kills like a Rampager and a half, which we're totally okay with. So, and then I think we fire down this line. We do enough damage here that we feel comfortable. Shooting down this way, killing a drone, which feels great. The broadside takes some damage, but again, denies him the primary. So we're in really good shape going into the following turn. So he does step out big boy here, but again, he can only kill so many things, and the Rampagers are right in his face. If he doesn't deal with them, they're going to connect and kill his big knight. So he can't really afford to go after any of my Sky Rays or broadsides. So they're just going to get to stand still and just nuke this guy off the face of the planet. So there you go. As you can see, Rampagers get deleted. Happens every time. Totally okay with it. I think he gets pretty lucky here. I don't know. This is the following turn is when he gets pretty lucky. But yeah, feeling really good. He has very few models left, and we still have a really good board presence. So here's when things get a little bit wonky. So he's move blocked me here, so I have to deal with the... whoops. Spoiler alert. Night doesn't last very long. He move blocks me with a bunch of Poxwalkers, so these Rampagers aren't really going anywhere. We step out all of our guns to see this big boy, including the Sky Ray here. We step out these Vespid to take out this primary, and hopefully, shoot their 10 Strength 5 EP2 for 2 shots into this guy, take him out as well. Plan goes a little sideways because the Knight explodes and rolls a 5. I think he just rolls a straight up 6 on the Vespid, kills them, so now he is... And kills this Lord of Contagion, finally, who then stands back up. So he's at half wounds, so he gets to score this primary for free. What I end up doing is these stealth suits move up. Again, they charge into the Rhino to deny this primary. So he does scam a little bit of primary at the end here, but doesn't have enough units to step on the midfield objectives and take advantage of that bottom of turn scoring. So he moves stuff out into the middle. Does a decent amount of damage, but again, we just... this is our turn 5. We step everything onto the midfield objectives. We move these crude up for potential charge over here. We just gum up this objective and this objective, and he doesn't have the OC to take that stuff off of me. Awesome. Now, so this game was against Phil from Mastercrafted. If you aren't familiar with Mastercrafted, I'm a part of the network over there. They're a really awesome group of guys who have faction specialists from a bunch of different armies hop on to discuss current news about 40k, their strategies, meta armies, meta analysis, how to deploy your armies. So absolutely check out Mastercraft. I'll put a link in the description below. They put out great content. Now, there's a big asterisk on this game in that Phil gives me a pretty big takeback towards the end of the game that really is kind of the difference maker between winning or losing. I'm going to blame it on the 2 margs that I had the night before. I am 28 years old, but somehow 2 margs got me pretty good. But so there is a big asterisk there. But again, so I just played Death Guard. The aggressive strategy worked for me. The reason that I play aggressive into Death Guard is I know that if I don't push early, what ends up happening is they win a drawn out game where they're able to stage pretty aggressive on me, and then the Death Shroud end up attacking like here. They'll drop here, they'll hit a charge onto an objective, they'll drop here, they'll hit a charge onto an objective. So my thought process going into it is I really want to go first because I want to take away his mobility. I want to take out this Rhino. All 3 of these Ghost Keels are within 10 of getting an angle on this Rhino, and I have these Pathfinders here who can also spot for them. So ideally, going first, my thought process is I want to take out this Rhino and hopefully get an activation on the guys inside. He ends up popping smoke to make it as difficult as possible. I roll exactly average. I get, I think I'm hitting on 4s. I get 9 hits and I get 4 wounds, I think, which is a little bit of a swing up for me. He fails 3 and goes down to 1, so I end up just grenading with the Pathfinders to take this out. And fortunately enough for me, what ends up happening is he hops out. I am able to activate the iron rifles into one of his Plague Marine units, take out all 5 but the character right here. I then charge one of these Blight Haulers so he can't activate it in his turn. So again, another important aspect of being aggressive is tagging stuff when you can. It also allows me to move block him here so that he can't push aggressively and charge this Ghost Keel or interact with it because I have the 1 inch and the lone op going on. He has to stay outside of that threat range, so he has to play passive in return, which is a really big deal for me. I did push this Rampager brick up here just to take out his Poxwalkers. Now you might say that's throwing away the Rampager brick, but I know because of this layout, one of the benefits for me is he's not able to really deploy anything in this spot because he has to respect my guns, whereas because I have Ghost Keels and because I have so many drops, I'm able to deploy this Skyray knowing that he only gets 1 Bloat Drone activation, and then I get to kill the Bloat Drone in return for free, so he does not take that activation. So I'm able to stage aggressively on him, take some midboard presence, and do some pretty significant damage. Now, I know I'm going to take one of these activations here, but again, he really has nothing to interact with them other than this unit because I'm 18-inch lone op in this spot of the table. Awesome, so this is after shooting and charging. He kills 1 Rampager and puts a guy on 2. He clears the Pathfinders pretty easily, charges them, and piles onto this objective, which I'm really happy about it because I now have a bunch of guns pointed down this line right here. This Mephitic does no damage to this Ghost Keel. He does pop this Ghost Keel, which we both agreed was pretty lucky between this Bloat Drone and firing deck from this Rhino. He ended up tank shocking him when he was on 3 and hitting like a 7-inch charge or something like that, which ended up being really good for him. But again, I've got the good tempo. I can see this guy now down this line of sight angle, so this Skyray can activate and this broadside can activate into him. And one thing I haven't talked about is reserves, but pretty much every single game that I played, I was putting a 6-man Rampager unit in reserves and 1 broadside. There is a game here where I probably should have put a Skyray in reserves as well, but we'll get to that when we can. So from this spot, I feel really good. I'm about to have my go turn, which is going to be trying to do as much damage as possible. My highest priorities are this Plague Marine unit, this drone right here, and this Mephitic, and this drone as well. Now here's where I get a little bit, I would say my target priority gets messed up a little bit, and I spend a lot of time on this turn, but I think I don't actually, this isn't like an optimal use of my damage application here. I think realistically I bit off a little bit more than I can chew, but what I really should have done is gone after this, and this, and I just don't do enough damage to really knock him out of this game immediately. I know that the the rapid, or excuse me, the Death Shroud are coming in, so I'm being pretty careful about my screens here. So what I end up doing is, again, something similar with the Crew, where I just put one guy on the objective, say, you've got enough to chew on already, so I don't think you're going to have enough to chew on this guy as well. Pushes out my screen as well, which is super nice. I end up making a 7-inch charge into this drone. I kill this unit of Plague Marines down to the character, which honestly is really annoying because these two characters have like D6 plus 3 flamers at 622, so it makes it like way easier for him to deal with like the rampagers that are right in his face. They like killed 3 by themselves each, which is really annoying, and they do a bunch of damage to ghost kills as well. But what ends up happening here is I put the Skyray on the objective, I kill this bloat drum, I'm able to charge here, kill this bloat drum, and tie this guy up while denying his primary. So I put him on a 0 in his turn 2, which ended up being the difference in this game. He did end up getting a couple challenger cards out of it, but at this point, I'm playing super aggressive. I know that he's going to get challenger cards. I'm willing to accept that. I don't win a long, drawn-out game with Death Guard. I know that. So I have to just score as many points as I possibly can, remove his scoring potential, which is usually these drones, and tie stuff down. So tag this guy, deny his primary. He does have a 10-man Plague Marine unit over here, which I know eventually is going to get to this objective, which I'm totally okay with. I really just want to defend him from getting to my home. That's the reason for the aggression over here, is if I don't push forward aggressively, Death Shroud are going to end up showing up here, making a charge into something, killing them, and the Lord of Contagion lives. He ends up on my home objective. It is just a situation I do not want to be in. So, his response here, let's see. I believe this is before he drops the Death Shroud in. Yep, so I tagged the spawn as well. Didn't do any damage, but again, his spawn now can't kill my screens, which is really great for me. He can't kill these Crew, which end up being a pretty big deal later on in the game, just as far as the screen is concerned. Just super nice to have that. So, he falls back here, can't activate. He has a bloat drone that comes up from this side to deal with these guys in combination with this dude, which is a lethal combo. What ends up happening is he brings in these Death Shroud up at the top of the screen to take out this Ghost Heal, which would have been a really big deal because I didn't have a ton of support down this side of the table. As you can see, there was just, I just had some stealth suits holding my objective. So he brought this Death Shroud up here and actually misses his 6-inch rerollable charge, which again, I think is another failure point for this game for Death Guard, and something I kind of have to lean into, especially playing against Phil. He's a really great player, and against the list that I think is really well positioned into me, because he has more trading pieces with those 5-man Plague Marine units, which again makes this matchup particularly difficult, I think. So he fails the 6-inch charges, which really, really helps me out. So what ends up happening is I move this Ghost Kill up. I think I get Assassinate, so I try to kill this guy. I line up all of my guns over here. I think it's a Skyray plus, or it's 3 broadsides plus Shadow Sun. He uses his Overwatch on this Ghost Kill, so then I'm able to auto-advance 6 these guys up the table because he held his other Death Shroud unit. So I'm able to still kind of have a decent screen going over here. One thing, I guess this will be next turn when we talk about it, but so this is, I believe, my turn 3. I end up swinging up into these Plague Marines over here really heavily, which is super awesome, and I kill all of them but a character again, which really worked into my favor. We didn't kill this guy, which is totally fine. Again, just charged the spawn and said, you can't do anything with these spawn. One thing that I think I should have done here is these Death Shroud are just stranded in no man's land with basically nothing to do. So I think if I... now, it's debatable on if I have the CP later do something that's really important, but I think the correct play here would have been to interlocking maneuvers this guy, back this way or over to this side of the table, because then this unit of Death Shroud is just going to waste probably 2 turns of the game, not able to get into the action, but because I have this Ghost Keel here, he's able to slingshot off him and get more activations out of them throughout this game. Awesome, so this is after his turn, so what he did is he did charge over here, he killed this Ghost Keel, I got Display of Might in my turn. I needed to kill this guy who was on 1 wound plus a drone here, so I dropped my Vespid over in this corner, and I ended up getting exactly what I needed to get Display of Might, which was kill this bloat drone, which I did need Shadow Sun to do. She ate an Overwatch from a Mephitic. I hit a 5-up invul and got lucky there. And I had to push these guys out for Display of Might. I actually only had one broadside activation to that one dude, so it came down to like a 5-up, I believe. So in his turn, he pulls... or he holds on to Tempting Target here, which is pretty trivial. It's this... Oops. It is this objective right here, so he's going to get it. He's going to kill this Skyria that's on 2 wounds pretty easily there. And what he ends up doing is making like a 7 or 8 inch charge over here, which is pretty gross. And this is the point where the takeback comes into play. So I had the CP... Oh, whoops. One big thing I forgot to mention. We do end up rapiding a Rampager unit into his backfield. Oops. On turn 4, or excuse me, turn 3, to go after his home, which he knew was going to happen, but because he was already holding these midfield objectives, he was totally okay with it. Yeah, what ends up happening is we kill everything on his home field. He still gets the 10, but because he's pulled me off of this objective, this is my opportunity to score an extra 5, so the 10 on primary. I've already used my auto pass to get Display of Might, I believe. I use my auto pass somewhere else for a good reason, but essentially, I have to pass this Battle Shock to win the game. He engages these stealth suits, and this is where the takeback comes into play. I did not use interlocking on them, and then going into his turn, going to my turn 5, I went to fall back, and he said, "Dude, I'm gonna Overwatch you." And I was like, "Oh shit, man! I really should have interlocking maneuvers there." And he gave me the takeback, which was really kind of him. But really, the game should have come down to that Overwatch. So shout out to Phil for allowing to do that. He's a nice guy, and he knew if I wasn't hungover as hell that I probably would have made that play if I was thinking straight. So what ends up happening is we bring these Vespid down over here. We score, I believe it's Established Locus in the back, and we pull Engage, which really works in our favor because of units in all 4 table quarters. Which is a really lucky draw. We're able to body block this objective so he can't burn my home. So he ends up burning here turn 4, burning here turn 5, and the game comes down to just 3 points. And it really just came down to if I pass this Battle Shock or not, which I did. So great game, Phil. Super high level play. It was super enjoyable. And yeah, thanks for being a stand-up guy. And then this is where round 5 comes into play. So as you can see, this is a very late game picture of round 5. What ended up happening in this game was I was pretty rattled after the game with Phil. We came right down to time. I forgot to take pictures, so I'm going to run you through kind of the broad strokes of what was most important in this game. And that was making sure, this is in a Deathwatch, it was making sure that ghost skills got to continuously activate. Because these Indomitor kill teams, he had 2 of them. Basically, he had 2 big shooty bricks, 2 big fighty bricks, and a bunch of these Terminators. So what ended up happening is turn 1, he put a Calidus here to do like cleanse, I believe, and he stepped out a unit of the 5 Terminators to shoot down this line and kill my Groot, which I gave him, knowing that I would be able to shoot back with, I had a Skyra here plus a broadside, plus a Ghost Keel to fire back down this line to pick up a resource. I wanted to use my cheap stuff as trading pieces. He kills the Groot. I don't end up killing the 5 Terminators. This is actually the guy who lived on 2 wounds here. But what I did was I created a screen with my Pathfinders like this and made sure that the Ghost Keel was more than 3 inches from the outside of the Pathfinder's base, meaning that he couldn't drop a shooting brick down within 12 inches to shoot me. And I was able to be within 12 of the Calidus right here, so I spotted with the Pathfinders for the Ghost Keel into this unit, onto the Calidus, and ended up getting my turn 1 kill that way. And I also cleansed, I think, at this top objective. One other thing that I did was I put Rampagers, 3 Rampagers on this objective here. Because he couldn't just kill him with like JPI, he had to commit a real unit, and he committed a real unit. He committed his Watchmaster brick over here onto this objective, which then I brought in a unit of Rampagers in his turn 2 over here and cleaned their clock completely. I killed the whole unit. Again, this spot right here, extremely sketchy spot for Tau to deal with. Now, throughout the rest of the game, there were some swing ups and swing downs. Really, what it came down to was this turn right here. He still had, this unit which could push to my home. He still had a couple. He had a full Indomitor kill team before this turn was over, and I essentially just set up for a 9-inch charge with these Rampagers. And it was basically game from there because I had a guy on 1 wound, so he probably would get kill more. I had a bunch of stragglers hanging around. He was going to get to kill this unit for free because he had like 3 or 4 dudes in this unit. So I went for the 9 rerollable. I got an 11 on the second roll and was able to clear the remnants of his other kill team with the character, which ended up being the nail in the coffin for him. But great game to Tyler. Super interesting playing into Deathwatch for the first time, and got some really great tips from Phil in my last game, who plays Deathwatch himself, on how to handle it. He was right on the money. He said, don't let him kill your ghost skills. Like, don't lead with the ghost skills, essentially. So I did just that. I just made sure that there was 12 inches away from these Rampagers. I was put this ghost skill here to get shots, and so it was a really close game. It really came down to who was going to, hit the knockout blow first. It ended up being me. And how the game finished up was I ended up with ghost skills on the midfield objective. He charged in with all this stuff. I was able to interlocking maneuvers past him to his home objective, get on his home objective, sabotage for 6, get secure for 5, and secure the win that way. All right, last game. So this is a great one. Couldn't have asked for a better pairing. This was actually Joel, who is one of my teammates on Mile High Militarum. He and I actually played this exact matchup, not this mission, but we played these 2 exact armies at each other on our Tuesday weekly meetup. So I was familiar with his list. Super wacky list. He's running Guardian Battle Host, and what he has are these really annoying Guardian bricks. Now, what they're comprised of is a Guardian, usually a character, plus a D-Cannon as an attached unit, plus a Warlock unit as an attached unit. So this unit gets a ridiculous amount of support. They are -1 to wound, -2 to charge. They have +1 to wound access for free if their character points at something, and +1 to hit. They can turn their guns into pistols, their entire unit. So if you try to tag them, they do a shitload of damage. Those Warlocks, their Overwatch, they Overwatch on 4-ups as well, so you can't really stand in front of them and try to tag them that way. The Warlocks are 5d6 flamers at strength 7 AP 1. It's 5d6 plus 10 shots, and then he gets a 4-up, 4-ups to hit on the D-Cannon, 4-ups to hit on the Bright Lance, and all these freaking little dudes as well. So what I did was I deployed Rampagers here, I deployed Rampagers here, and really the game to me is pretty binary in that he also has a Wraith Knight up here as well, which is a super annoying aspect of the list. You kind of have to step out all your guns to deal with this Wraith Knight. That's OC10. It actually kills ghost kills in my vehicles pretty well. So it's a really wacky list, and he kicked my ass. He absolutely kicked my ass on Tuesday. He beat the brakes off me. It was not close when we played. But I did know one thing, which is if I can activate a Rampager brick into this unit, I'm in really good shape. So I went first. Scouted my Rampagers directly at him. He had this unit of whatever they're called right here, the Shroud Runners. I ended up positioning a Broadside or a Skyray over here to take some shots. I had a Ghost Skill up on this angle to take some shots, so I had to clear this screen. He also had another unit of Shroud Runners here, so I ended up positioning my Ghost Skill, Skyray, and Broadside over there, which you can see here. Let's go to the next. And so what ends up happening, this is after his movement phase, but what ends up happening is I fail the 7 rerollable. And I think if I hit this 7-inch rerollable, I think I just win on the spot, because he really needs 3 of these Guardian units up to win this game. But one other thing that I'm doing throughout this game, when I opportunistically, is take out his trash pieces. So I take out that 3-man unit, I take out 2 of the 3 on this unit of these Shroud Runners. I do a significant amount of damage here. The reason why it's so important to clear these units in one activation is because he can put them into reserves and return the entire unit, revive literally the entire unit, unless you kill all of the attached units. You have to kill the D-Cannon, the 4 Warlocks, and the 10 Guardians to actually kill the unit completely. If not, if he's not in engagement range, he can pull them out of the sky. So although this unit is stuck in combat and can't do that right now, He's just going to kill these Rampagers, then in my next phase, and kill these guys as well. And then in my next, at the end of my next turn, he's just going to pick these guys up for free. So right now I'm feeling pretty darn terrible. I'm losing, 300 points turn one basically for free. But I do not regret my decision. This was the right call to go for this. I think it was a game-winning play. Joel and I talked about it after the game as well, and he said, yeah, you absolutely have to go for it. Because, again, the Overwatch is just too insane that a 7-inch rerollable is about the best that I'm going to get on this unit. So I don't regret anything. One thing that I did as well was, because I went first, I scouted my Recruit onto the middle to sticky it, so I end up sneaking some primary out of that. He does get a huge advance on this Wraith Knight, which sucks for me because now it's in this extremely awkward position to be. In our last game, I was really focusing on the Guardian units, which just kept reviving, and the Wraith Knight kind of just took over the game because I wasn't really able to activate into it efficiently. So I know that I have to kill this Wraith Knight as soon as possible. It's OC10. It's going to kill everything on this objective. I'm not going to score it. So my main objective here is to do as much damage to him as possible and kill all of the ancillary pieces. And honestly, just try to get lucky on killing at least one of these bricks of Guardians. So, as you can see, he steps out this Warwalker onto this objective to shoot these guys in combination with this Guardian unit. These guys stay put here, I believe. Doesn't do a significant amount of damage across the table, so I do have one broadside in the reserve. This is the game where I think I should have played my Sky Rays a lot more aggressively, because the Sky Rays are actually an annoying unit for these guys to kill. And so the only really I don't need to respect his Warwalkers very much or his other long-range shooting, so I probably should have just deployed really aggressively with them and used them basically to charge my opponent and tie him down for a few turns at a time. As you can see, though, obviously he doesn't put anything on the middle, so I do get the 15 here. And this is where things go a little left for me. So what I end up doing, and another thing that I could have done better is this was a good play to be able to potentially charge Guardians from behind a wall. Like, I should have had as many units as possible to try to tie these units up, make sure they can't move. Sure, I'll lose resources, but I can't allow them to just move freely around the table and get an objective super quickly. So what I do is I put as much damage into this guy as I physically can. I step out both my Ghost Skills, I step out the Pathfinders, I step out Stealth Suits, I step out this broadside, I throw a grenade, I try to tank shock with the Ghost Skill. He does 0 mortals. I try to charge him with both to keep him stuck in combat, but what ends up happening is I fail this charge, but I really need the CP for the follow-up turn to both rapid and just do some shenanigans. So I get really lucky here that he gets bracketed. I think I get him down to 6 wounds or 4 wounds, something like that. And he ends up missing on 3 of his big swings, only gets 1 through, and I blank it. So he's stuck in combat with this Ghost Heal, which bodes really well for me. And I think this next slide is where Joel makes a pretty big error. So he pushes up this unit into the middle of the table. He reserves this unit, the Aeldari unit, I believe. Whatever. He reserves one of the units and gets the whole unit back. Is able to get a line into this Ghost Kill right here with a few of his guns. And is setting up for a charge into these Vespid right here. So as you can see at the top of the screen, I end up rapiding a Rampager unit because I'm protected from an Overwatch over here. I really want to try to connect with these guys because they can't actually Overwatch me, which is, again, a really big failure point. They will kill like 4 or 5 Rampagers in an Overwatch just from those Flamers alone. I think at one point he rolled like 36 shots on 5 Flamers, which is just like, what are we doing here? So this is where the game goes a little bit left for Joel, is after he charges these guys in, they only kill 2 Vespid. So now this unit is stuck behind this wall. They cannot Overwatch these Rampagers, which is a huge deal. He kills this Ghost Keel in shooting. The Wraith Knight charges the other Ghost Keel, I believe. And I end up heroicing just to try to kill him off of mortals. I do 0 mortals with the Rampagers. He ends up putting all of his attacks in the Rampagers, kills 2 of them. But because these Vespid don't die, I am basically going to win the game. Because the Rampager unit alone is going to clear this unit, and I've killed every other chaff piece that he has on the table. I've killed his Wraith Knight, I've killed both of his Warwalkers, I've killed his Shroud Runners. He has no other trading pieces. He will be left with just these 2 units. So this is what ends up winning me the game. For good measure, I do get this Ghost Keel into this unit to tie them up. They can't do anything about it. So he basically has 1 unit right here that can do anything, and I still have Vespid on the table. So if he doesn't hang within 9 inches of his objectives, I just drop on them and take them away. So at that point, we just decide to talk the game out. Which is where we are. So the Rampagers clean these guys up. I use extra AP and reroll wounds. I roll super well. I think I hand him 20 AP ones for 2, and kill his unit down on the nose. He does use pistols here to kill these guys, but again, I'm scoring another 15. Again, you see I use the Kroot pretty aggressively here. I give them a 6-inch lone op, so he literally can't interact with them. They have to come 6 inches off the table. So yeah, really big win into Joel. I think we both didn't know where this game was going to go, but that one charge over here where he thought he was going to kill the Vespid, it would have set him up really well to be able to overwatch these guys. But because I had interlocking maneuvers off of the Wraith Knight, I was able to get a free charge off and take him out that way. So yeah, that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks everybody for watching. Again, go check out Secondhand Geek. Go check out the Discord community that I'm in, and appreciate you all watching. If you're enjoying this content, drop me a like, comment for the algorithm, and subscribe to the channel. We're always coming out with new Tau content, stuff like this, tips, tricks, how to deploy your army, that sort of good stuff. But that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks everybody. Catch you later. Peace.